Another store bites the dust downtown, a tragedy for the ages, and the cell door slammed shut on a notorious killer.
It all made news this very week in decades past, right here on Rochester's first TV station. Here's News 8 Now's Dave McKinley with News 8 Then.
10 years ago this week, another longtime staple in the downtown retail scene became among the dearly departed when B. Foreman closed up shop at Midtown 20 years ago this week.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
It was one of those watershed events in history, the kind when we remember where we were and what we were doing when we got the news. The Challenger disaster claimed 7 lives and kept the space shuttle fleet grounded for more than 2 years. Back home, we saw signs of times to come in education.
Schools in Phelps have turned to mandatory urinalysis as a way of fighting drug abuse.
And in manufacturing, when Kodak brought out its new VR35 camera, however.
The new 35mm cameras have Kodak's name on them, but they're Japanese made.
And with Tom Ryan now installed as the city's first modern-day elected mayor, the seat he vacated on city council had to be filled. Out of 5 candidates vying for the post, the choice was the subject of this week's News 8 Then pop quiz, which is, do you know who this is? Well, that is one way to get a disabled vehicle off the expressway. 30 years ago this week,
this Captain America comic book is valued at more than $2,000.
And it would have been a good investment, because just last week, a copy of Captain America #1, like this one, sold at auction for $97,000. Sparky Anderson still managed the Red. Xerox still operated an ice rink downtown, and Burns-O-Matic was still cranking out the propane torches in its Rochester manufacturing plant this week in 1976. 40 years ago this week, when the now mostly vacant block of Main Street, where they currently propose putting a performing arts center, was occupied by stores which actually thrived. Crews working from barges began driving the pylons and pouring the footers for the new Irondequoit Bay Bridge. And just like now, winter driving conditions resulted in a share of accidents. The difference back then was when the rescue crews removed you from your car, they might have said, backboard? Who needs a backboard? And this man, Edgar Dewey, was tried and convicted for the 3rd time for a murder he committed 7 years before. He was a killer of particular notoriety because his victim was Harold Shaw, who was a city police officer and who fortunately to this day remains the last member of the RPD to have been slain in the line of duty. And it was all News 8 Then.
This is News 8 Now.
Here's the answer to the pop quiz. Do you recognize this woman? 20 years ago this week, she emerged triumphant among 5 candidates seeking to be appointed to the Rochester City Council seat vacated by Tom Ryan.
20 years later, Lois Geist still not only remains on the city council, she is currently city council president.